Ancient of days. Bow before his throne, Lord, in glory. Ancient of days. Oh, yeah. Tongue and tribe confess, tell the story. Ancient of days. Oh, yeah. Ooh, na 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 na. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh. Ooh, na 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 na. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh. Ooh, na 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 na. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh. Ancient of days, yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
Over to you, Brother George.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Amen. So we can get started?
Yes.
Hallelujah. Amen. Well, we thank God for the day. We thank God for everyone who will be watching us or who will be watching this recording. Welcome to Mental Wealth. Welcome to Mental Wealth, where we talk about strategies. We talk about God's design, God's plan for your life. We talk about scriptures in terms of building wealth. And I want to welcome you, give you a big welcome from my senior pastor, Pastor Leslie Dundas, myself. And we will have someone else joining us today shortly to talk a little bit about mental wealth. So we thank God for your life. We thank God for each one of you who will be watching or who are currently right now active watching us. Today, we're going to move into the subject of entrepreneurship. Last week, we had a huge and great major subject, and that was talking about fear. The fact that many of us, when we're starting a business, we go into a frozen lifestyle where we are afraid of moving and afraid of doing things. We're afraid completely of getting involved. We're afraid of taking the first step. We're afraid of taking the second step. And we talked a lot about how to overcome that fear. So we praise God because there were a lot of subject lines that came out. There were a lot of very important nuggets that came out of this. And one of them was how to deal with fear. How to deal with fear. And you know, as I look back and I think about one thing that I enjoyed last week was that fear is not something tangible. It's not something that you can touch. It's not something that you can literally go out and touch. It's something that's in our mind. It is something that we ourselves develop. It is something that we ourselves bring about. And the Bible says something very interesting. It says, so as a man thinketh, so is he. So as you think, your reality will come to pass. Everything that we put in our mind will come eventually to pass. This is why we have to be extremely, very, 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 very careful with the things that we put in our mind. So as we stand here today, I wanna just remind everyone about the importance of your mind, that mindset. I want to remind everyone about how to properly take hold of that mind. Your mind is very important, brothers and sisters. Your mind is very important. It's extremely important. If we don't take care of the mind, the body will follow. If we don't take care of our mind, our body will follow. What I mean by that is, it all starts with your mind. It all starts there. It all starts there. And today I want to welcome my brother Gene. It's good to see you, man.
Good seeing you too.
It's good to see you today. We see that you're in a big chair, man. That thing looks like you're on top of the world in that chair, man, and it looks comfortable.
It is. It has massage. It's heated.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know, man, but we're talking about mental wealth, and you come out with a great chair that looks like you are just reflecting wealth, man. Just the chair alone, just the chair alone.
Look, you only consider one chair at a time.
That's but I was
might as well make that chair comfortable.
That's right. That is so true. I was just reflecting back to last week, my brother. I was just reflecting back to last week on the conversations that we had, and how we talked about the fear factor. The fear factor. And I want to just give everyone a refresher of really what we talked about, because you threw in a few nuggets in there, some very important principles. And if you don't mind, I'm going to touch on that a little bit, and then I want to jump into a different subject line, which we will get to. But if you don't mind, brother Gene, can you talk a little bit about one experience that you had in the past where you truly felt that the outcome will possibly not be that pretty? Whether it's a business venture, a project, or some major goal that you had, and you really felt that tremble. You really started doubting yourself. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you overcame that?
So there's several, but there's one that really was a major one, right? And this is the first time I invested. This is the first time I actually invested a lot of money, and I brought in some investors. This is the first time I actually brought in an investor, and this was for a comedy show that I did. I was producing. This is the first time I've ever done this. I produced a comedy show for Kevin Hart, and This is before Kevin Hart was Kevin Hart. This is right before he started. And and when I mean started, what you guys see as Kevin Hart with the shows, the movies, the stand-up specials. His first stand-up special was Laugh at My Pain, and that was the show that he did with me. And so I was asking his promoter, I was asking his agent, I was begging the venue to let me take give me an opportunity. And they didn't want to really give me a shot because they knew if he failed in New York, right, and the promoters didn't promote right in New York, then his trajectory would not go the way it was going to go. Because they're like, we're not going to tour in other cities, and New York failed.
Wow.
Right?
So New York,
Especially it was-
so it really depended on New York. New York was huge.
New York was hit and miss. So if you missed in New York, you weren't gonna. They couldn't sell the show in Florida. They couldn't sell the show in other parts of in the other parts of the country because New York is it. You know,
Wow.
and so they took a lot of gamble and risk with me. So anyway, so it took me 4 months. So this time, that was the backstory. So now they gave me the shot, they gave me the opportunity, and I was promoting it. I'm talking about I was going in, me and my team promoting thousands of flyers, emails, text messages, phone calls. Like we were doing radio ads, we did commercials, we did a website, we did everything we thought possible, right? In the middle of the winter time. And the tickets were moving 10 tickets at a time. So I'm like, how is this possible? Like I remember we sold 500 tickets, and the 500 tickets weren't moving for a 3,000 seat venue, right? And so we're like, why is this thing not moving? And so at a point, so I'm talking about after, November, we started in November, end of October, November. So November, December, 500 tickets, we didn't even break 1,000. January, right? When January came around, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
We can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, no problem. So when January came around, I went into like a little bit of like, oh no, this is, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this opportunity, maybe it was too big for me. Maybe, but then I thought about it. Faith, grind, inspire, right? There's a reason why I got this opportunity to promote this show, to produce the show, to put this show together, right? And I have to believe in myself because God gave me the opportunity to do this. So God wouldn't give me a vision to promote this show, to produce the show, to put this show together just for me to fail. Right? And so I said, I have to go in overdrive. I have to push myself past my comfort level, right? Which I did, right? And so I went, instead of just doing the normal promoting, I went above, and I did this thing called the train campaign. And I don't know if you know New York or Long Island, but the listeners who know, so there's a place called Sunrise Highway, right? And there's another thing called the LIRR.
Yeah.
Long Island Railroad. So Long Island Railroad goes, there's almost every town on Sunrise Highway, the train goes through Sunrise Highway, right? And it stops in like the major towns. So what I did was, because I knew, I reverse engineered it, and I said,
you there? Gene, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Do you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see something. Okay, you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So yeah. So I went through I reverse engineered it, and I figured every car in those parking lots along the Long Island Railroad have to be going to Manhattan. All those people live in Long Island, but they work in the city. So my show was in Long Island. So I said, you know what? I'm going to promote to all of these people that work in the city that live in Long Island. So when they come home, they could have a great comedy show in the evening in Long Island. So they don't have to go back to the city.
Wow.
So I literally handed out 10,000 flyers. Me and 2 other guys handed out 10,000 flyers we hit every car,
Wow.
every stop of the Long Island Railroad.
Mm.
So now the tickets went from 500 to about 2,000 people,
Wow.
right? In literally one campaign. So now the venue is like, wow, you guys are doing good. Then another hiccup hit me. So now there's a club in the city called Caroline's.
Mm-hmm.
Now Caroline's booked Kevin Hart for the end of January. And so because of our show, they were using the momentum of our show, and they added 10 more shows to their lineup.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? You promoting the show, and then because if it was reversed, Caroline's makes their comedians sign a contract stating that if you book them, you can't do a show within 20 miles of that location.
Wow.
So they booked me. They booked, because I didn't have that in my contract, they booked Kevin, and they did good. But then they sold another 10 show. They added 10 shows, so that was 300 people. So that's 3,000 more people, right? Because each show holds 300 people. So they had 3,000 extra people come into their event when I could have had that, right?
Wow.
So people were like, man, what you gonna do now, Gene? You know?
Wow.
I said, we're gonna keep pushing. And we pushed and we pushed, and my sister Alvina got us on what's that place called? On Pix 11, and we got on national television, and I basically was able to sell out the show. So God was so good, we ended up selling out the show, and not only selling out, we were able to turn away 400 people.
Wow.
So the story worked out better.
That is so interesting, man. That is so interesting. I love the fact that you said you kept on pushing.
Yeah.
You kept on pushing. You know, I am a big reader, man, and I thank God also an author, right? And one book that blessed my life, man, that I read. I try to read several books a year. I used to be able to do 12 to 24 a year. And you know, I've slowed it down a little bit, but one book that blessed my life is called 10X. Can you hear me, Gene? Okay, all right, great. Sorry, it's called 10X. 10X, and it's an interesting book because in essence, the author.
You talking about 10X from Grant Cardone?
Yeah. Excellent principle. I love the principle for two things. One is it's interesting. If you're trying to achieve more but doing less, is not going to necessarily always work. In other words, if you're trying to become an entrepreneur and you're trying to start a business and you don't want to put in the work, let's say you want to start taking vacations on day 1 or on day 30th, but you're expecting 5 times the result. You're expecting 5 times the income. You're expecting 5 times the customers. The formula will not work. And in your case, you saw a gap, and you realized that you had to put in that extra work in order to get that extra result, that level of result. And then you figured it out. You reversed engineer it. And then you took action.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the thing with entrepreneurs, right? We have no choice. Once you make a decision, you have to stick to it, and you have to go forward, and you have to push forward. Because if you don't, if you get stuck with being mediocre, and you get stuck with the mindset of just like, all right, well, I'll take what I get, you know. So if somebody does that, then you're going to be in a position of lack,
Sure.
right? And
Sure.
you're not going to win. You
Sure.
have to be you have to put yourself in think from the top and always propel up.
Sure. Absolutely. And it's interesting because you did not complain too much. I mean, you certainly felt the pain. You felt the pain of what was going on. There was some doubt, I imagine, that came in. People, friends, naysayers were trying to make you doubt, right? I'm sure that you had people coming up to you saying, man, listen, you might as well throw in the towel,
Mm-hmm.
right? How did you deal with naysayers?
You know what? I dealt with naysayers by looking at what was in my brain, like the vision, right? That's why I always talk about the vision first, and it's so important because if you don't believe, like if someone tells me, Gene, we should start a coffee business because a lot of people drink coffee and it's $1 billion business, right? I don't drink coffee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because I don't really believe in it, right? And that means I can't sell it.
Mm.
But if I believed in it
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work, that's one thing. But I'm only gonna push the things that I believe in. And once I believe in something, and no one can convince me otherwise, right?
Sure.
I have to really believe in it. If I believe in it, no one can deter me from doing it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like my wife and I, we're sitting right now. I'm sitting in the, I call it the Brooklyn Swirl Home Theater, right? So this was our logo, right? Brooklyn Swirl. This was the first frozen yogurt shop in Brooklyn owned by African Americans, right? And in Bedford-Stuyvesant, they told us frozen yogurt wouldn't work in Bed-Stuy. They told us our competition was the bodega. They told us it was the little lady walking around with the ice cream cart. They told us the ice cream man was our competition. We ran that business for 5 years successfully, right? Through the winter. I'm talking about all year round. Okay. And so the only reason we shut down was because of a landmark issue. And and by the time we fought landmark and we won, right? As soon as we were about to open again, COVID hit us. And so my wife and I decided we didn't want to go through with the COVID regulations and stuff. So we just said, you know what? We're not doing this. But you always going to have people that tell you no. What you have to think about, Pastor George, is your belief in your mission has to be greater than the words that are coming from the haters. So if their voice is louder than your voice of hope and joy and prosperity and success, if you have doubt, everyone else is gonna have doubt. If you don't put, if I remember when I first started real estate, I was 18 years old, and my aunts, some of my family members were telling my mom, Gene can't do this, right? He's too young. He looks like a kid. He's a baby. It's not gonna work. Tell him to do something else. My mom is crying, but guess what? I believe real estate is the way. My mentor was telling me, and I understood it, and it made sense to me. And I was like, wait a minute, everyone needs a place to live. Why wouldn't this work? Right? So I was so good, and I'm still so good in real estate. I helped so many people buy homes and so many people start investments and real estate careers that they switched tunes once I started becoming successful. Once I started buying, now it went from tell Gene not to do it. It went from that to that's my nephew. He owns millions of dollars worth of real estate. You know, oh, that's my nephew. He knows he can help you buy a home. Meanwhile, when I first started, they were telling me, leave it, quit.
Yeah, of course.
But I understand why they were doing that. I understand now. Now I'm older. I understand it's because
Sure.
they couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes when people try something, they try something and they weren't successful at it. They try to, because they love you, they try to tell you, no, you can't do it either. But they don't realize the difference between me and you is that I'm actually passionate about it. I believe in faith, grind, inspire. I believe that when God gives me a vision, God didn't make a mistake, right? So if God gives me a vision, anything God tells me to do, because when man makes a plan, God laughs. But when man follows God's plan, God smiles. So I follow God's plan, and that's why I don't do every business. Everyone's telling me, yo, Gene, you're gonna get into CBD and they legalize marijuana. I said I don't smoke. I don't smoke. I don't believe in this stuff, and I don't want to do it. So they're like, yeah, but you can make millions and billions, and I said it doesn't matter. It's never been about money for me. It's about legacy. It's about doing the right thing, and it's about me sleeping good at night.
Yeah.
So there's certain businesses that I'm not going to be involved with. There's certain businesses that my integrity won't let me do, right? But like I said, if I used to grow up, and I used to beg my mom to stop drinking coffee. How do I look selling coffee to other people's parents? You know what I mean? And so, and this is what I used to tell people, because they like at Brooklyn Swirl, they used to tell me, customers used to come in and say, "Hey, you should add coffee," and I said no, and they're like, "Why not?" You know, and I said, for $1 a cup, like $2 a cup, for what? Like I told them, and they respected it. I said, look, when I was a kid, I used to hate that smell, and I used to tell my mom that I don't want you drinking coffee, and I used to try to beg her to stop, right? And because I felt like she was addicted to it, and because she had to drink it, you know. And so I said, and once I found out that coffee had, you know, it was addicting, I said, I don't want you to drink this. So now I got my mom to stop drinking coffee, but now all of a sudden, now I'm an adult. For some profit, right? I'm gonna now have other people addicted. No, I'll leave that to other people who don't care. Like, not me. You know what I'm saying? And if you sell coffee, you know, God bless. But it's just my thing. This is me. You know. And so, and this is how I look at things. You know, like, it has to feel good to me. It doesn't have to feel good to everybody else. It just has to feel good to me.
Sure.
And that's and as long as because Pastor George, when we come on this earth, we born alone. When we die, we leave alone. Right? The only thing in between those two is our story, and how much we impact people's lives.
Yeah.
So I want to impact people's lives the right way. I want to help people, as many people as I can, from my scholarships to my books, to my frozen yogurt place, to my branding agency, to my planner, to my podcast, like comedy shows. Everything I touch is something that I feel is a positive attribute and contribution to society. You know, and that's how I'm going to keep it. You know, and I don't feel bad for it either. You know. And there's plenty of times people try to get me in network marketing because they're like, Gene, you have such a network. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's not because I don't want money. It's because I don't want to do it. You know, I don't feel passionate on it. You know.
Sure. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. And in my business line of work today, we spend a lot of time coaching entrepreneurs and speaking to a lot of business owners. And you know, one thing that I do, which costs me a lot of money many times, which actually makes a customer say, you know what, I am not going to take the service immediately, as crazy as it sounds, is this. Let's say someone comes to me and tells me, you know, George, we need to open up an LLC or a C Corp, and we just want to get into this type of business, and they come up to me to talk about business credit. Immediately, the first question that we always post to them is one that actually hurts us a lot. And the question is this: why are you starting this business? And I follow that with, if you were not going to make a single dollar in the next 10 years, would you still do this business? And the reason I bring these two questions up, Gene, is because over my period of time, over my career, and today as an entrepreneur, I realized that money is a byproduct of your passion, of your talents, of that vision. And what happens is it's not always a straight line. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. And when times get tough, when the money comes very tight, when you're starting some of these projects, we tend to give up. And we tend to give up exactly as you stated. The vision might not be as strong enough. The reason we're doing it might just be money. And because the money is no longer there, well, when we say, well, it's over, I'm giving up. And so what I teach entrepreneurs today is, don't start with the money. Start with what's inside of you. Start with what God placed in you. You have talents. Everyone does. God has given you and I and every single one of us more than we can imagine, right? So we start there. And here's what happens with a lot of them. They come and they say, oh man, you're really making me think. And so, yeah, I don't want to do this immediately right now. I need to go back to the drawing board and really think about why I'm going to do this. And
Exactly.
and per customer, be honest with you, sometimes we're losing $5,000 to $10,000 easily. But it is more important for me to make sure, as you just stated, that someone is so passionate about that vision, that goal, that talent, that they are truly trying to change someone's life.
Exactly.
That they're truly trying to change someone's life. I just recently made a decision in my life, and I'll share this with everyone. It's the first time I'm actually sharing this, and I really made this decision. And I said, Gene, I will not get into any project or any type of business unless it will change someone's life for the better. Unless I can impact truly someone's life. And what I mean is, even after I am no longer physically here, as you said. So you completely take the money is important to business. Of course, you have to build it, you have to manage it, you can do great things. And of course, we as entrepreneurs, we need that. But it is not truly the desire of our heart. I'll give you a quick story.
It's true.
In this book that I recently published, From JetWho to JetBlue, when we first started with the airline, I realized some great things about this founder. The founder of JetBlue had already started a couple businesses before that at an extremely young age.
Mhm.
And eventually, when he started JetBlue, they kicked him out in 2007. So here he goes. He starts this airline from ground zero, this little baby. He grows it up, and then they kick him out. And what's the interesting part about this is that when they kicked him out, he went to Brazil and he started another airline called Azul, in Spanish, blue. And the interesting thing about this man is the capacity to serve, the love of serving. I mean, when I went to the interview, I brought Pastor Leslie, my wife, and we sat around a table. Gene, we sat around a table, and this man, I kid you not, probably was giving us more water than anything. Everything that he can literally give us on that table, he will probably give us, because he's so passionate about serving.
Wow.
Passionate about serving. And here's a man who's got more than 3 airlines under his belt, active, worth a lot of dinero, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But is so passionate about serving people. So passionate that every single week, Gene, he would grab an airplane on a Friday and fly to a different city and serve people on that airplane. He would literally put on an apron and walk down the aisle and ask every single person, what can I do to make your flight in the future better?
Wow.
So there is a huge difference when you see someone like that and you say, wait a minute, they're not doing this for the money. The money is coming, obviously, is a byproduct of what that passion and that service and that vision, but you can see that it's more than that to them. So I love that story that you gave and how you
That's
connect,
deep.
how you connected it. Yeah, and for people who are out there, pick up the book, Gene. That it's right on. You know what, Gene? I will actually, because I want you to read this.
Okay.
I want you to read this. I'm gonna get one to your hands, my brother,
All right.
because
Thank you.
it's literally for entrepreneurs, and it goes into some very deep cultural aspects on entrepreneurship, like you won't even imagine. Um, and it's coming from people who are doing this, like yourself. So, but before we finish up, though, Gene, we got almost 18 minutes. I want to pivot
Okay.
to some action related questions that I have for you.
Okay.
Now, we talked a lot about the mental piece of it. We talked about the fear factor, the getting started, how to someone is asking what is the name of the book. It's called From Jet Who to Jet Blue. From Jet Who to Jet Blue. And before we finish, Gene is going to also talk quickly. He's going to give out a couple of his book on Amazon, my brother. If you put my name, if you put George, Jorge, Gayle, you'll also find it, or you just type in From Jet Who to Jet Blue. And Gene, at the end, I want you to please also bring out a couple of the books, because I want
Okay.
people to understand this. Let me really quick say this, everyone. For those that are listening to us, I cannot tell you how important books are in your life. A great majority of Americans do not read. A great majority of the world does not read. But what many people don't know that they're missing out on is this. I am speaking to Gene right now. I may not be able to speak to him in another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even a year. Who knows how what God has planned in the man's life. But he put his thoughts, he put his experience, he put his principles, everything that has worked for him in a book.
Yep.
Therefore, even if though I cannot speak to him, boy, I can still learn from him.
Yeah.
And many people, Gene, hundreds of authors, thousands of authors who are no longer even alive have left us with so much knowledge.
It's true.
And Gene, if you can take the next few minutes
Mhm.
and talk to the entrepreneur out there who's listening to us and who's saying to themselves, okay, guys, this is great stuff. Mental wealth, I get it. I'm gonna deal with this fear. I know now I have to concentrate on my passion. I'm gonna separate money from a second and concentrate on truly why I'm doing things. And I'm gonna take the step. Now, Gene, for the entrepreneur out there that is going to take the step tomorrow, they're going to pick up the phone and make that call. They're going to step out and start doing something. Let's talk to them for the next, how much time we got? We got 15 minutes. So I want you to give this person a couple nuggets, couple things that in your experience they should start doing immediately once they decide, man, this is it. I am going forward.
Number one, right? Remember the saying. There's two sayings that I go through, right? The first one, actually, I paid $2,000 for, right? When I was 18 years old, because I don't know the demographic of who's watching, but let me explain something. So my background, I was born in Haiti. My parents were born in Haiti. So we come from, immigrant households, right? And coming to America, my mom told me that there's opportunity in America. But she also put in the fear of everything. Be scared of everything. Don't talk to nobody. look down when you talk to adults, which in business is the reverse. If you don't look at someone in their eye, that means you're lying, right? But in our culture, it's like that's just a sign of respect when you don't look at an adult in their eye, right? You don't tell people your business, but in business, you got to tell people some of your business because that's how you build connection and build rapport. So I had to unlearn a lot of things that I learned when I was a kid, but I paid for this saying. Every day, in every way, I get better and better and better. So to all the entrepreneurs out there, trust me, you're going to be fearful at first. You're not going to close Jeff Bezos the first day. You're not going to get to Amazon status the first day, $1 trillion business the first day. You're not doing that. No one is, right? But you can get there. And all you have to do is work on your system every single day. Now, you work on one piece of your business every single day. Sometimes it's you. If you always showing up late for your meetings, then what you do is you work on getting better with your time management. You buy a planner. You set alarms. You do certain things to help you manage your time and your tasks better. If you're a person that doesn't get your main high productivity task done, you start writing things down in the planner, right? I created a planner for entrepreneurs, which I'll talk about. It's called Faith Grind Inspire Planner, right? Where it's dateless and timeless. But to help you, if you're a person who doesn't make cold calls, or you need to send emails, or you need to be on social media, or you need to do marketing on Facebook or whatever it is, right? Putting out content. You work on it a little bit, right? And same thing with relationships. If you want to build relationships with people, you take 5 people and you say, okay, every day I'm going to call 5 different people for the 8 hours or 9 hours that you're at work or you're doing business, and you call 5 people during that time, right? And you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes on the call with them, and you build with them. You can schedule calls with them, but that's every day, and every way I get better and better and better. So it's going to go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 to 1 day. So 1 day you're going to create time where you're contacting people. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you guys about is regret is worse than fear, right? Now, like I said, I'm from the Caribbean. The only reason I'm sitting here, I'm actually sitting in a movie theater, right, in my house. The only reason why I'm able to be here, sitting in this nice chair, sitting in this, hold on, let me show you, right? Sitting in this theater, I'm sitting in a movie theater, right? It seats 10 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got Carmelo Anthony signed basketball.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. No. Hold on. You're not just gonna put that down again. You just can't swivel that thing like.
Oh, okay. You want me to
do that? Listen, you can't do that fast. Come on, man. You gotta.
I'll stand up.
All right, good. Let's look at that from the back, because this is what it's all about, Gene. Sometimes people believe that it's a matter of just talk.
Yeah.
Talk is easy, right?
Talk is cheap.
It's easy and it's very cheap. So let's talk a little bit about this, because this is what you're talking about. You had to go through some phases to get there. So if you don't mind, turn the camera around, and so we can see that. No, you can just move it the way you had it with your hand. There you go. So what we're looking at is it's a theater in your house.
Yeah.
In your house.
And watch this. You want to see something cool? So if it connects to Alexa. So let me see. If I'm talking, right? If I'm sitting here with my guests, so we usually entertain about 9 people, and I go, Alexa, turn on movie time. And then all the lights will turn off, and now we in the theater. Now it's like a movie, you know.
Mm.
Alexa, turn on full, and so you know. But this is a cool thing, and it has its own bathroom, right?
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
yeah. full bathroom down here. Has a bar, and all these seats recline. These seats in the back. It has lights. Let me show you something cool. So in the back, it has a platform where it has lights on the floor, right? So when the guests come, you know, you see it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this now, Gene, because this is important with what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And I appreciate the tour, because what I want everyone to see is many times people will sometimes come on radio stations, come on Zooms, and they memorize some lines, and all of a sudden they sound cool, and
Yeah.
they sound like, you know what I mean. But you are actually not to show off, but you are showing
Yeah.
the byproduct of a lot of work, the byproduct of a lot of mental wellness states. You had to work it, and this, by the way, Gene, what you just showed us did not come in day one.
No, not at all.
And
Not
so
at all.
go back. We have 9 minutes. If you can go back to that.
Yeah. So regret is worse than fear. Right?
Yeah.
So my point of showing you this is, so if my mom and my dad were fearful and not leave Haiti, I wouldn't have been able to take the advantages of America and do what I need to do in America to get to this point where my family and I could enjoy this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the problem is a lot of times that we listen to the negative that comes in, and it blocks us. And when we get older, we regret not taking a chance, right? We regret not taking just, you know, chances with life. So that's why, for me, that's why I said in the beginning, when God gives me a vision, when God gives me a plan, I go forward, right? And so, and I go full steam ahead. I don't like let me tell you something. So this is my planner, right? I have this planner, and I made this planner because during the pandemic, people were telling me they're not being productive. They didn't feel like they were getting things done, and they were like, how do you stay motivated? And I tell people, Richard Branson he just went to the moon. You know what I'm saying? He went to outer space, man. Like, this guy went to outer space, and people told him it wouldn't work. They told him it wouldn't. But you know what he said? His number one, this guy's a billionaire. You know his number one tool that he uses every day, and he doesn't leave. He doesn't go. It's a book, a planner.
Yeah, let me stop you there for a quick second. Because what you're saying is so profound. That is actually something also I add in the book. Because and this is Gene, by the way, he hasn't even read it yet, but he's bringing up things that I add that a billionaire also, the multimillionaire, the founder of JetBlue, did. And here's something so interesting with what you just said. I want to go back to this, and the time management piece is so key, and I think that's good for another separate topic too, because that's a topic all on its own. But here's one thing you said that really got my attention. Your parents made a decision, and that decision impacted you.
Exactly.
So how many today, my brothers, sisters that are listening out there, the decisions that we're talking about, your life, we're talking about you as a person, entrepreneurship, your business, the decisions that you make today will not only impact you, but they will impact your future generations. Absolutely. Your children. And Gene, I think that is when you just showed us around, and when you're talking about you and your family and the accomplishments and your parents, if your parents would have said, it's too hard, or let's just go off what we're fearing and let's just not do this, then there is a very high possibility that you wouldn't have been able to inherit America, do the things that you are doing today.
It's true. You
So
know?
to those parents, what do you say to those parents?
I tell parents all the time, you know, you have to, when we talk about legacy, when we talk about generational wealth, when you think about the names Rockefeller, Ford, Chase, JP Morgan, like when you think about these names, this is so many years ago, right? So many generations. And these people did something that's impacting 6, 7 generations down, right? And these people are still dealing with the wealth, right? And it was tough for them back then. It was way tougher. They didn't have social media. They didn't have internet. They didn't have, they had messengers. It took maybe 3 weeks for them to get a message to create a deal. We have Instagram, we have DM, we have Facebook, we have this. Look at this. You're in Florida, I'm in New York, I'm in Brooklyn, you're in Florida, Pastor's where in Queens, Long Island, and we're communicating. There's people watching us right now live.
Oh, this is it's true.
So this is powerful. Like you could go to genealert.com and buy a book, right?
Yeah.
Pastor, I'm creating a website called Citadel Books, where I'm bringing independent authors in, and so that they could publish, they could sell their books on my website and get higher returns than it is on Amazon, because Amazon doesn't pay as much to the authors as a self-published author. But because Amazon's a main hub and it's easy, people just say, buy my book on Amazon.
Sure.
But I want to change that for us, because I feel like instead of making $6, $5 per book, as an author, we should be making $15 per book.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's actually a great idea. We're running on time, my brother. So I want to do this quickly.
Okay.
Gene, I'm going to show the book in a second for Adrian Clark. I'm going to show it here. I want Gene to talk about his books, but for the person that just asked the book, here's a copy of it. It's called From Jet Who. Let me put it there. From Jet Who to JetBlue.
I like
From
that.
Jet Who to JetBlue. And the reason I named it that way is because in the early stages, when we started with the airline, they called us Jet Who. Anytime you would say, I am working with this company. We only have one airplane, but we have big plans. We have big ideas. Give us a try. People would say, Jet Who? So
That's funny.
that is why I named the book like that, and I bring people back to those original days of when we only had 1, 2, and 3 airplanes. And
I love that.
And
you've been with JetBlue from the beginning?
So I was there from the beginning. I retired years back, and that's when I started my business full time. But JetBlue has been a blessing to my family and I. And the founders, the owner who was there at the time, all of them are great friends, and you learn so much from these guys. You have to apply these things in your life. So I wrote about it, and
I love it.
It's going off the shelves pretty quick. So it's really cool to see that people are loving it. I saw a lot of posts on LinkedIn. People are excited about learning to put in these principles that you are talking about, Gene.
Yes.
That you haven't even read it, and you are actually talking about these principles that I put in the book. So it's so awesome. With the time that we have, if you don't mind, can you please talk about the books that you have and how can everyone find you, please?
All right. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Pastor George. Thank you, Pastor Leslie, for having me on. And thank you guys for watching and listening and being part of this. So my first book is called Do Right, Do Good. Do Right, Do Good. And you can get a signed copy from me from my website. So it's my name, genealert.com, right? And this book is all about vision fulfillment. I talk about 8 principles from vision, education, surrounding yourself with the right people, having patience, education, working hard, having the right team, and things of that nature. And I break down my journey, and I talk about different stories and how to. I try to give you my stories versus trying to tell you, right? Because what I've learned, and the reason why pastors like, wow, you didn't read this book, but some of the principles are the same of what you're saying. It's because success leaves clues.
Amen.
Right? And I read a lot. And so instead of trying to recreate and reinvent the wheel, what I did was I studied famous people that, not famous people, but entrepreneurs that were successful. And some people might not even know these people, but I knew they were successful. And I studied them. I asked questions. I was like, let me help you. You know, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, my uncle, Dr. Eddie Vincent. Like, these people were successful, but Rob Flower, like Rob Stanfast, like these are people who are successful, but people might not know them. They're not Puff Daddy and they're not Jay-Z, but these people were instrumental in making me a success. So that's what this is. Do right, do good. And it's interesting, right? Because when people see that, they like, oh, do right, do good. It's true. When you do right in the world will do back good to you, right? And you will be successful when you do good by your clients. When your whole mentality is to do right by your customers, by the world, by the people you serve, by the businesses that you serve, all of a sudden, what's going to end up happening is the world is going to do good for you.
Amen.
My grandfather used to say one thing to me. He said, never chase the money, build the business.
Yes.
When people chase the money, they always fail. And that's why they go, oh, entrepreneurship is hard. Well, you don't make a lot of money. The problem is social media, and the way the media is now is that they always showing you the glam, right? I just showed you my movie theater, not to promote like, yo, you need a movie theater in your house or whatever, and not to show how much money I'm making. I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years. I just got this 5 years ago, right?
There you go.
So it's not day one. Day one, my first year in real estate, my first year of being an entrepreneur, I was hiding from the repo man, Pastor.
I believe you. I had two of those, so I know that.
Yeah, man. So you know. So now,
I know.
But now we buy cars cash. We don't. No more loans for me. So now my second book is called. It's not a book. It's a planner, and I suggest everybody that wants to get one. You go on my website. You click on it. We actually launching it. This is a pre-launch, but we actually launching it in November. But you can order it on my website. It's genealert.com, and you click on the Faith Grind Inspired Planner. It's a dateless, timeless planner, and it starts off every day with gratitude. So when you open up the book, right? So you put what am I grateful for? The number one question is, what am I grateful for today? Then in the gray areas, you write the top 5 things. Phone calls, emails, whatever it is that's your top producing activities for the day. That's what you put here. And then you have 19 other places where you could put different things that's gonna move your business forward. You have your start time, you have your check-in time, and you have your end time. And then at the end of the day, who or what inspired you for today?
That's
so
all.
You have faith, grind, inspire.
Amen.
And then so this is this planner. You know, it comes with a pen, it has a placeholder, it has a pocket in the back. It's small enough but big enough to get the job done. And I'm excited about it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Look, we have a minute to go.
Okay.
But I want to just motivate everyone. Look, we've spent an hour together, and I always like ending with this. what are you going to do with what you learned today? What are you going to do? Because you see, we can keep coming on as we will to inspire, to motivate, to bring about knowledge, but you have to do something with it. My brother just showed you his book. Pick it up, go to his website, and I guarantee you, you are going to learn something and put it into motion. He just showed you a planner. I can't tell you the importance of a planner in my life too. Put it in motion. We're coming up with a new program starting very soon for everyone. It's called Let's Build It. Let's Build It. It's a program that I'm putting together to help each one of you, many of you, on how to manage your credit properly and how to build business credit. All these things we will be talking about. And I want to thank you, my brother. I really, Gene, I am very excited for you.
Thank you.
I am excited. There's a lot of applauses coming in on the chats. You know, Adrian Clark, God bless you, Adrian. You know, Rachel Gentle. God bless you, my sister Deaconess Colette. God bless you. And for those of you who are watching or who are listening, who are driving, God loves you, and He has placed so much inside of you. And He tells you to remember who gave you that power of gaining wealth. So He already has given you the power. What are you going to do with it? My brother Gene?
Yes, sir.
It's always a privilege to be here on this platform with you. I thank my senior pastor, Pastor Leslie. And Gene, you know, we look forward to that platform on selling books. Please keep me posted. Definitely. I will make sure I'll stay in touch with you, my brother. And thank you so much. Please say hi to your wife and the family. And I'll let you enjoy that theater all by yourself, unless you're gonna call the family there.
Yeah, no. I'm actually about to go upstairs and eat dinner. They waiting for me.
Okay, listen, man. Congrats! After 20-something years, you heard it, everyone. It did not come in day one, on month one, on year one. It took many years, and there is the website for everyone. It's on the chat, so you are able to see it directly.
And I personally ship out the books, the planners. I engrave them, so it's customized for the people who patronize me. And you know, I'm just grateful. You know, so every book that I sell comes from me, signed by me, and it comes with little gifts. So it doesn't just come with a book. So you get some stuff in there too. You know, so if you order it tonight, you know, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Gene, my brother, God bless you, everyone.
All right.
Bless you, man. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
All right. Take care.